Joe, Texas absolutely obliterates. Nah, I probably shouldn't start off like that. Hold on.
They obliterated them.
Okay,
you're correct.
Okay. Texas goes up to Ann Arbor and absolutely manhandles Michigan in a really good game for Texas. When you looked at this game, a noon kickoff, I thought it was really competitive early. What did you think of this Texas-Michigan game?
Yeah, I talked about this whole offseason that I thought that this Texas team was going to really prove themselves potentially early. And I thought that their secondary was going to be a lot better. Their secondary played great. I know it wasn't exactly against a super potent passing attack, but they made some plays. Their coverage was really strong. I thought that their defensive line stepped up in situations when they needed to. I'm not going to fully go in on the Texas will beat Georgia. Not going to do that. But I think that I was affirmed that this Texas team deserves to be in that top 4 national championship contending conversation. I am replacing them with Oregon. I think that Texas is going to go on a tremendous run this year. And it all comes down to the performance on defense, but more importantly, the way that Quinn Ewers has taken the step forward that I needed to see, which is he is no longer hesitating. That I feel is completely out of his game. Certainly there are going to be mistakes, but he's willing to trust his traits and his teammates to make plays and to attack downfield. And that is what makes this team dangerous, what makes any team dangerous when you have a quarterback with a big arm that can fit the ball into tight windows and is willing to take those risks. He is no longer being overly hesitant like we saw in the past. I'm believing in this Texas team until they prove me otherwise. I feel really good about them. They were very, very dominant in this game from the minute that it kicked off.
I see Steve in the chat said that Texas established the run. There is one concern I have. Ryan Wingo, the long Ryan Wingo play was technically a rush that was given on the stat sheet. Joe, outside of that, they had 88 rushing yards. I agree with you. Quinn Ewers being having the experience. You know what he went in there? I feel like him and Sark did. Don't overreact. Dink and dunk him down the field. And let's go score. Because they're not – it felt like that they knew that Michigan wasn't going to score, right? Like their game plan, their thought process was like, hey, man, we know for a fact that they're not going to be able to score on us. Don't give them reasons to be in the football game, right? Like it's not as if that Texas came out there and did things elaborate. Look, Quinn went 24 of 36. I thought he did, like you said, Joe, made some really good throws. Thought he had some throws that he could have gotten back too. You know what I mean? Like missing 12 of those passes, like there were multiple times he could have sustained drives and didn't. But here's the thing that won them the game and why they continue to look dominating. It's because their offense was on the field the whole damn time.
Yeah.
They went 10 of 16 on third down. They completely did whatever they want in the passing game on third down. Wink Martindale got out coached. Sorry. I mean, It's not as if Michigan doesn't have the dudes. Sarkisian put one on him. And they were just constantly on the field. Joe, I don't want to say it like this because I think Texas had a really good performance because it's really tough to go up to Ann Arbor and win. I think that this Michigan team is just might be that bad, though. Like, if you're running – like, here's the thing that Sark said in the postgame. I went and listened to it this morning. Joe, when Alex Orji ran out there, he literally said that they were blitzing, that they were going full after because they knew he wasn't going to throw the football. And I think that has a part to do with they have no identity on offense, and they have a guy that was a former walk-on who they're trying to get established with guys, Joe, with guys on the outside that can't get moving. And by the way, when Davis Warren was moving the football down the field, Loveland fumbles the football. Like, he's not getting any breaks either. And then one of the interceptions, his receiver stops because he doesn't think he's getting the football. I mean, it's just they were so clunky in so many areas, man.
Look, I mean, I agree with you. I think that this Michigan team is going to obviously take a step back, and that was the whole conversation that we had in the preview that we were very wary of, that they have a lot of deficiencies, especially on offense, trying to throw the football, but they're still like at least an 8-4, maybe 9-3 football team. They're still really good on defense. I don't think that we should take anything away from Texas. I don't.
I don't want to either, but you can't look at what Michigan did offensively and say to ourselves, like, hey, Joe, I think Texas was challenged. Don't get me wrong. Especially their offense was challenged. But, Joe, having 88 rushing yards outside the one long technical run by Ryan Wingo, Joe, you couldn't run the football.
Well,
I mean,
wait. Hold on one second. They're doing that against a really good defensive line, and also we need to remember here the injuries that they had at running back coming into the season, and then Jaden Blue, I think it was an ankle issue. He got banged up early in that game. I think for the offensive success that they had with all of these injuries at running back, it actually makes me feel better about Texas. It really does.
I'm going to preview this, and I'm not going to talk about it long. Can't do that against Georgia, though.
Obviously. That's
what I'm trying to set up here. Look, I thought Quinn was highly efficient. I mean, Gibson went 10 of 36. 3 yards a carry. Blue had 9 for 22. The other back had 9 for 30. Again, that's the part that I'm talking about. If there's one thing that Texas that I wanted to see how they looked was how did they produce in the running game against a really good front seven? They didn't produce well at all. And Texas fans are going to get mad in the chat. I could care less about that. I want to take a look, though, Joe, at we already talked about Michigan here, too. But let me ask you this. It was announced this week that Sharon Moore doesn't have a contract. Okay? And
that was weird.
So what do you think about that? I mean, you're going into this situation. Your head coach doesn't have a contract, and you look like you do offensively. Joe, I do think that they might be in a little bit of trouble. If they can't score, then what?
Well, there's a lot of teams that they're going to face in the Big Ten that, like, their offense is going to be better than theirs. I don't know off the top of my head who they play, but like teams like Minnesota and Maryland are not going to really threaten them. I think that they're going to be fine. But the whole Sharon Moore thing is really weird, and it's really concerning because it kind of makes me wonder if they're waiting to see what the punishment handed down to him is, and if they just want to be able to quickly cut ties if there's a severe allegation against him for cheating in the manner that he did. I don't understand the point of it, though. Like, I don't understand which side is being so hesitant. I agree with you, though, that there are issues, though, with Michigan clearly offensively.
You know what I thought about the first time that this thing happened with Sharon Moore? Boy, could Michigan get out of this one pretty easily.
I still think that Sharon Moore is a great coach and that he's going to figure it out. He's being handed probably one of the worst situations a first-time head coach could possibly be handed, which is
so you're going to give him more grace than Marcus Freeman you talked about earlier?
Yeah, because he's his first year. It's his first year. He's stepping into a situation where your team is being accused of ridiculous, or not ridiculous because they're true, but massive allegations of cheating. And on top of this, you're also losing your entire offense and a ton of defensive players. He was given a really bad hand of cards, and we're expecting him to hit a royal flush. It's not going to happen. I'll give Sharon Moore 3 years, year 3, if he's still doing this crap and they can't play against big opponents, then we'll have a different conversation.
I think he's a sacrificial lamb.
It does kind of feel like that, which sucks.
It feels like he's a sacrificial lamb because, Joe, here's the truth. He's the pending head coach, but he's not the head coach. And I'm going to tell you what's about to start happening in Michigan, too. If you're Ohio State and they got some recruits on their program, or phone's going to be ringing. Hey, man, they don't even trust in the head coach because they think he's cheating. And when that snowball starts going down the hill, it gets really bad. All right.
This video is sponsored by the online fitness training camp presented by Chris Gates Fitness. When I first started talking about Chris, about partnering with our show, not only was I excited to have a fitness sponsor for our pod, but more importantly, when I found out about how he can help people achieve their goals, I was even more bought in, because when the football season starts, it is so tough to stay on top of things and also to be able to enjoy yourself on Saturdays when it's game day. With Chris Gates Fitness's online training camp, you're going to be able to effectively stay focused, consistent, burn fat, build muscle, and do it with a like-minded community of individuals working towards the same thing. On top of this, you're going to be able to get direct coaching from Chris and the ability to ask him questions with an access to a live Q&A where you can get direct, personalized support from Chris himself. Don't wait any longer. If you're trying to get in shape during this fall and you want to be able to do it with the right support system, head on over to chrisgatesfitness.com/training camp or click the link in the description. And you need to do it today because you can get the first month. Personal training is expensive, folks. the first month for only $10 when you use that code Ruffino Joe. Don't wait any longer. Head on over there. BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.